Welcome back. Episode 17, right back into it. Appreciate y'all being here. Episode 17, like I said, so we'll dedicate it to somebody. This week's overview is going to be on waivers, so no better time than now. We're going to recap Gateway, talk about who stood out, get into drop the green bets, see if we can dig out of this hole, predict Sonoma, and we'll close with some stupid questions. As always, my name's Austin.
My name's Spencer.
Let's drop the green.
Truth's been told, and I've seen my head cut us low. Come on, save my soul with a bar guitar and a honky tonk crowd.
All right, episode 17, right into it. We're starting on time this week. We're on the right day. I don't know what to do with myself.
I know. Look at us.
I know we might have this figured out by now, but
Maybe.
So episode 17, let's jump right into it. Who did you decide to dedicate this episode to, Spence?
This week was a pretty easy one for me. Episode 17 had to go to my boy from Prosper, Texas,
Right.
Chris Buescher.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
After performance he's had this week, this was easy. But what I did get to do is I got to learn a little bit of history that I didn't know about him before. And one being that he just started racing in 2005. Which,
Really?
Yeah. That's when he began racing legend cars
Okay.
at Texas Motor Speedway. He won over 100 times.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How much are they racing legend cars at Texas?
They probably do it like they do at Charlotte, and they run just that like that.
Yeah, I know, but like how often are they running?
I would assume, minimum once a week. Maybe.
That seems like a shit ton of wins.
That does seem like a lot. I don't know if I'm not saying he got those all in 2005 either.
No, I know.
Okay.
But still.
Yeah, no, that's a lot
That's
of wins.
a lot.
Yeah. So, 2005, during that time, he meets David Reagan, and I guess him and David Reagan hit it off. And in 2008, Chris Buescher moves to North Carolina to follow David Reagan. And,
No kidding.
Yeah. And David Reagan was kind of like his mentor. He got signed to a driver development deal for Roush Fenway in that same year, and then started in 2009, started their ARCA series, and he raced in that from 2009 to 2012, and then in 2012 he won the ARCA championship. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he beat. No, never mind. Sorry. I'm skipping ahead. But he won in 2012. In 2011, he made his nationwide Xfinity debut. He raced 2 races. Okay. 2012, didn't race in any Xfinity, went back to ARCA, of course, and then won. 2013, he raced 7 races for Roush Fenway. And then in 2014, he signed full-time for them in the Nationwide Series. And then in 2015, he won the Xfinity Championship.
Good.
Yeah.
Quick learner.
Yeah. Huh?
Quick learner.
Yeah, very quick. And so in 2015, they had the playoff, and Kyle Larson actually won the race in Homestead. And but the guys he beat were Chase Elliott, Ty Dillon, and Regan Smith, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think now.
For now, like that he beat Chase. Chase would have, I guess, 2 Xfinity championships.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Chris Buescher. And then so from there, won it in 2015. 2015, he signed for the Cup Series with Front Row, and I think that was the 34 is what he ran in 2015.
Yeah.
And then in 2016 full time, and that year he won Pocono.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you look at what happened?
No, I didn't look at what
So
happened.
it was they ended up being kind of a strategy call of why he was out front. They actually canceled, or what's the word I'm looking for? They just called the race.
Okay. So exactly what happened at Charlotte.
For fog in Pocono, they called the race. So he was leading. I think he maybe he had stayed out for whatever reason. You know, some of those backmarker teams, sometimes they'll stay out. And yeah, he's just sitting there. Like, nobody hardly knows Chris Buescher.
No.
Even now. I mean, because he's just kind of quiet. But yeah, they just called it. and playoffs that year
That's
because he won
insane.
Pocono because of a fog delay.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, there you go. But so still, win's a win.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wins in that in 2016. 2017, he signs with JT Doherty. I think I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
From 2017 to 2019, nothing crazy. Kind of had, I think the highest finish he had was 16th. I think he made the playoffs one year. I think that was in 2019, actually, maybe 2019 or 2018. And then he signed it with in 2020. He signed with Roush Fenway again, and was with them for their final 2 years.
Before it became RFK.
Yep. And then in 2022, he signed, of course, with RFK. And then up until now, and his best finish so far was 7th in 2023 in the playoffs. So it's only going up for that squad. And
Dude, it's
Brad's
crazy.
finally coming around. So it could be crazy.
Kind of the story that I remember hearing, Roush is notorious for these long-term contracts and like clauses in the contracts. And so evidently, when he signed his initial deal with Roush, there was some kind of statement in there saying he was going to run Cup for them eventually, or kind of an option. And so when Ricky was just wrecking cars like crazy, I guess they more or less exercised that option. And so he was always with Roush, always kind of a Roush employee in a way. I'm not exactly sure how the legalities of that work, but basically, it was no surprise to Buescher when he ended up coming back to Roush. Huge surprise for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Huge surprise. And the funny thing, and you can go back and look at this press conference, but when they signed Buescher back to Roush, Jack did a press conference and said, we're really looking forward to competing with the 17 and building on something instead of fixing cars. Said that, yeah. Which I'm sure Ricky Stenhouse is like, kick me while I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
What?
Yeah, Jack Roush said that. What are you going to say to Jack Roush?
Nothing.
So he comes back. The other story I've heard too is when Brad bought in, there's kind of this, is he going to clean house, start completely over? And Brad said in one interview, one of the first questions he asked was, how long Buescher signed for? And they told him, he was like, we have to make sure we keep him. But Brad recognized who Chris Buescher was, and obviously he was right. Because, he had, how many wins did he have? He won 2022 Bristol. Mm-hmm. He won 3 races in 2023.
Yep.
And then he's yet to win a race this year, but he's so...
Oh, he's been so close.
So close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's a real deal. He's got a little bit of a personality, too. He's just...
he seems like a cool guy that we could have on the
He
pod.
seems like just a dude.
Yes.
Just a dude.
Yeah. Just a dude. So.
Yeah, I like Chris Buescher a lot.
But, yeah, so that's my episode 17.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to go also the Roush number 17. I'm going to go with Matt Kenseth. Oh, did you have a picture of it?
Oh, yeah.
Buescher? Yeah, sorry, we forgot about that. We'll show Buescher's real quick. He won't get as much of the spotlight as Matt Kenseth here. We turned the table around. It's just got us all cattywampus, to be honest.
Nice.
Yeah. Such a good looking car, too. One thing I want to say real quick, I don't know if you noticed this. So, ever since Brad's took over, it's hard for me to. You see right behind the 17? Nope. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So, that's like the little blue thing. Those little 3 lines with the 3 lines behind the 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right here,
So they put that on every RFK car, every race.
Oh.
So sometimes it's just the outline, or sometimes it's wide open like that. But I think that's kind of an identity thing that Brad started.
I like it.
And every single RFK car, like watch this weekend, both RFK cars will have that little 3 stripes. Okay. So kind of a cool little thing that Brad started.
That is really cool.
But so, I can't think of a bad car that he's had.
No.
They've
the Fifth Third Bank cars. It's great.
It's okay.
But
it's a little boring.
It gets the job done.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. But
this is a beautiful, beautiful car. I I want to know. I wonder if this is the scheme that he ran when he won Bristol.
I thought that was like a silver car.
Yeah, I think you're right.
For some reason, I think because I was there, I feel like I remember it being a silver car.
Yeah, maybe so.
But that was a wild race.
It was
when he won that.
Yeah, it was.
My favorite thing, real quick. So that was 2022. The first 3 races of the playoffs were won by non-playoff drivers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because Darlington was Eric Jones, and then the second race. Gosh, I knew I was going to say this to make myself look silly. I can't remember who won the second race, but the third race was the cutoff race,
and Chris Buescher won.
And Chris Buescher won that one. I don't remember who won that second race. The second race would have been Texas. No, the second race in the playoffs, Kansas. Bubba. Yeah, so it went Eric Jones, Bubba, Buescher, and I was like, "There's no better argument to this dumb format of getting rid of it than that," but we didn't.
No.
So, here we are, still doing the same dumb thing. But cool deal. Well, I like Chris Buescher. I think, honestly, he could win a championship one day. With this format, like we just said, it could be this year. But I'm going to do, like I said, another Roush number 17. We're going to go Matt Kenseth. So we're going old school here. So Matt Kenseth, born March 10th, 1972 in Cambridge, Wisconsin.
Ooh.
So Northerner. Yeah, I feel like that's all I do. I don't know.
Yeah, you just pick him northern boys.
It's all northern guys. I don't know why. But short track legend seems to be a trend too. So track champion in places like Madison and Slinger, Wisconsin International Raceway. Did a little bit of ASA, late model racing, and then in 1998, I believe, his old rival. So, you're racing those short tracks, you're racing against the same people. One of the guys he competed with the most was named Robbie Reiser. Okay. And they were fierce competitors. Like, I wouldn't even say they were necessarily friends at that time. He went off and started his own Busch Series team, Xfinity now, but Busch Series, and his driver got injured. And who does Robbie Reiser call but Matt Kenseth, his old arch enemy, right?
Yes.
So he calls Matt Kenseth in 1998, 1997 is when he calls him in. So he finishes out that season, does pretty good. He just goes ahead and hires him full time. So 1998, 3 wins. 1999, 4 wins. And they end up getting the attention of Jack Roush, which they had a little bit of a alliance partnership with Jack Roush. Jack Roush says, "Y'all are so good. I want you, Matt Kenseth, Robbie Reiser, and your whole team, and I'm going to put you in the 17 Cup car." So 2000, he goes full time in the 17 DeWalt Cup car. Looks just like that, and he wins the Coke 600 his rookie year.
No shot.
The Coke 600. Ooh. So pretty big deal, right? Crown jewel right out of the gate. The longest race. Ends up winning Rookie of the Year. Do you know who he beats for Rookie of the Year in 2000?
Dale Jr.
Great guess. Exactly right.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
I had to make you sweat a little bit. But yeah, he ends up beating Dale Jr. It's kind of a close race because Dale Jr. also won a race in 2000 in his rookie year. But let's flash forward to 2003. So this is kind of, I wouldn't say we'll say it's his best season. So 2003, we're still in the Winston Cup format. So this is season-long points. He wins the third race of the year. I believe third or fourth race, Las Vegas. He wins. Gets the point lead, holds the point lead through the rest of the season. Wins the championship. So 25 top 10s. Just think about that, 25 top 10s.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So he clinches the championship before Homestead, the final race, and finishes dead last at Homestead. But he still won the...
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right? So just imagine the way we're so used to this now, that last race mean everything. He already tied it up and finished last.
That's insane.
But we were trained, everybody was trained so different back then. I'm sure people still watched.
Oh, yeah.
They had to have. That was the peak of NASCAR. But now you couldn't imagine that now.
No.
Right?
No.
So 2004, Nextel buys in, and they end up doing the whole chase format. A lot of people will say it's because of he only had one win. And a lot of people will say Matt Kenseth didn't win a race that season, because that's how early in the season it happened, and people just forget. And you'll hear several people say it. Matt Kenseth won a championship without winning a race. He won a race.
Vegas.
Very, very early.
Yeah.
Right? So
week 3.
yeah,
week 4.
everybody forgot about it by the end of 2003, much less now.
But how do you forget about it when he finishes 25? That's over 3/4 of the whole. I mean, were they still racing 36?
36,
races?
yep.
That's insane.
And he had the point lead for 33 of those 36 races.
Come on.
Insane. Yeah. And so he was very consistent, and that was rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it used to be. Maybe not the most exciting thing, but as a race fan, we can appreciate that.
Oh, 100%.
But we might have him to blame for this predicament we're in. We got to blame somebody.
We do.
I'm going to blame Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth.
So he ends up racing for Roush all the way until 2012. So 2012 is his last season there. He wins 3 races, including the Daytona 500.
Dang.
Walks away. What does he walk away for? They're firing Joey Logano, and he's going to sit in the 20 car at JGR. Can't blame the guy. He got out at the. We know what Roush turned into, right? We talked last week about Greg Biffle rode that all the way into the ditch.
Yeah, he did.
And then some. Matt Kenseth might have saw a little bit of writing on the wall.
Yep.
Or maybe he just saw the giant paycheck that Joe Gibbs was going to give him, and he got out of there. But that was on the later half of his career, so he ends up finishing his Cup career with 39 wins. 25 of those were in the 17 car. Now, keep in mind, he only raced with JGR from 2013 to 2017.
Okay.
Maybe 2018.
Okay.
No, it was 2017. It was 2017, yeah. But... So he had a bunch of wins at JGR.
Because I barely remember Matt.
Oh
Kenseth
yeah,
racing.
it was
quick.
It's a blink of an eye, really.
Yeah.
And that last year he didn't win. In 2017 he didn't win a race with JGR.
Yeah.
They had Eric Jones coming up, and they basically made that NFL type decision.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're good, but we got this other guy. We can cut a little bit of money. I'm sure they paid him ungodly money to move over there. Mm-hmm. He ends up winning the race before the final race. He won Phoenix in 2017. Just almost like a walk-off. He ends up coming back and running part-time for Roush.
Uh-huh.
They took Trevor Bayne out of the car and put Matt Kenseth in it because they were like, what's wrong with our cars? We have to get someone like Matt Kenseth in there. Matt Kenseth sits in their cars and says, no, Trevor Bayne's right. These are dog shit. I mean, which if you're Trevor Bayne, you're probably like, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you these cars suck.
I told you.
And then, of course, we know 2020 he comes back as well. We'll touch on that in a second. But so yes, episode 17, both Roush number 17. So that's pretty cool. Both good guys.
Really good.
I think there's a ton of upside for Buescher. I love that Buescher's just, like I said, he's just a dude, old school racer. He's quiet, but then we saw him get fired up at Reddick, which I thought was awesome.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to see him throw a punch, but I also felt scared for Tyler Reddick because he would have murdered him.
That's the thing about fighting someone like Reddick or Larson is a no-win situation.
Yeah.
If
You're
you
going to get crucified either way.
If you lose, you got beat by someone that's 4'12". Mm-hmm. If you win, you just beat up
4'2".
A 4'2". Yeah, I mean, like you can't win. It's like fighting a girl. Yeah, honestly,
it really is.
Not that Tyler Reddick's a girl; he's a man.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But
and Kyle Larson's a man. Yeah,
but at the same time, when we're talking about fighting,
yeah, I'm not a tall dude, but I would say I'm 5'11" and a half, and Kyle Larson probably comes up to my hip.
Oh yeah, dude, I've met him. I've got a picture of him.
Yeah.
Of me and Larson together. Yeah, I look 6'3".
Yeah.
I'm not.
Hey, that goes out to everybody. If you want to look tall, go find Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. You will look tall.
You tower over him.
Yeah, you do.
All right, episode 17. So good deal. I think this week's overview, and we can make it short. I really didn't want to talk about this at all, but it got to be such a big deal. I think we should talk a little bit about waivers.
Playoff waivers, yes.
Playoff waivers. Mm-hmm. So playoff waivers started, obviously, when the playoffs started. What NASCAR didn't want, because they started this win you're in system, right? In NASCAR's mind, it's so messed up. They decided, well, we don't want people to come in and win, save a bunch of money and skip all these races and then show up for the playoffs, mm-hmm. right? Not only that, but they didn't want, and this would never happen, they didn't want people's favorite driver. Imagine Chase Elliott wins Daytona 500. we have all these Chase Elliott fans that come to the track for Chase Elliott. They didn't want someone like Chase Elliott sitting it out until the playoffs.
Yes.
Which would never happen because you have to remember all these teams are funded by sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we talked about in the charters,
Yep.
sponsors pay the bills.
And the charters have to be there at every single race.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Yes.
And we have to have sponsors just to get to the track. So these sponsors are not going to be like, yeah, we're fine with you. Yeah, take 20 weeks off. Never going to happen. And then the other reason they did it is because if you win and you're in and you get injured, they still wanted you to be able to get in. Don't necessarily agree with that, but that's kind of where we're at. So we're talking about waivers now because Kyle Larson requested a waiver. So we go back and look at Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, some other people like Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter, just tons of people. Anytime they've requested a waiver, it's almost like it gets slid across the desk and it gets slid right back. Granted.
Yep.
Right. I think there's been 3 or 4 that have been denied. They're so obscure that I can't even find them. Mm-hmm. But there's been over 30 playoff waiver requests.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Because we're talking all 3 series, right? Because we have that format in all 3 series.
But that's only been around since 2014.
Yeah, 2014. So it's a good amount.
Yeah.
But the point being, and the joke has always been like NASCAR's never seen a playoff waiver they didn't like. Because they give it to everybody.
Yep.
And I've got a few ridiculous ones. So we kind of understand what the purpose is, right? Yes. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's the purpose. I've just got a few ridiculous ones I wanted to point out. So 2015, Kyle Busch gets injured in a Xfinity race at Daytona before the Daytona 500. Mm-hmm. Misses 7 races. Now, back then, this is pretty recent. The rule was you had to be top 30 in points and have a win
get a waiver
to get into the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say who's 32nd, like Zane Smith, because he's probably deep. On this format, he could win next week
and still not get in.
So he would have until the playoffs to get top 30 in points. So Kyle Busch comes back after 7 races, broke his legs, both of them. Comes back and wins a couple races. But then it's like, well, you still have to be top 30 in points. So that was the other. There's some drama in there. Ends up getting it, get to the playoffs, wins some more. Well, then he wins the last race. So, and Kevin Harvick's talked about this before. He's like, 2015 was my year.
Yeah, it was.
And I showed up every week. He's like, good on Kyle. I'm not mad at Kyle. It's not Kyle's fault. That's the system. But he's like, why did I show up every week if this was going to happen either way? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad Kyle Busch got that second championship in 2019 because I feel like there's still an asterisk beside that. I mean, he missed 7 races.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's like Bowman. It's like Chase.
Exactly. And so the other, I've got 2 more, and I'll let you go. 2020, Kyle Larson starts the season. COVID happens. He says a racial slur on iRacing. Obviously fired. Mm-hmm. Well, Chip Ganassi gets Matt Kenseth. So Matt Kenseth has not only missed the beginning races, I think it was 4 races. Yeah. Had no intentions of being a Cup driver.
No.
We just talked about his career. They go ahead and give Matt Kenseth the playoff waiver. Now, granted, he didn't even come close to winning because he'd been out of the car so long. But it's like, what? That makes no sense, right?
You'll give Matt Kenseth a playoff waiver, but you won't let Kevin Harvick drive the number 5 car during. I'm just saying.
Don't get me back on that, Spencer.
I know. I'm not trying to, but that's why we criticize the sport so much.
Their consistency is inconsistency.
Yes.
Right. So once again, they've never made a playoff waiver they didn't like. The last one I'm going to close with is Chase Elliott. Breaks his leg snowboarding. Yep. Now, we've given medical waivers. Kurt Busch was in court because his wife was crazy and said he domestically abused her. He didn't, so he set out, came back, gets a playoff waiver. We've had people get injured, come back, get a playoff waiver. So Chase Elliott comes back and gets a playoff waiver, right? Not a huge fan of it, but whatever. He's there for like 2 weeks, and right rears Denny, firewall deep, suspended by NASCAR, rightfully so.
Yep.
They say, we need a playoff waiver. It comes right across the desk. I did see this on Twitter. It was a day later.
Yeah, no, it was quick.
Yeah. second playoff waiver
of that same
of that
year.
season.
Yeah, of that
Right,
same
2 in a
year.
row. So then we get to Larson, and I'll let you touch on that. But I mean, we waited over a week.
Easy.
Over a
It
week.
just came out.
Gateway happened.
Yeah, Monday.
Gateway happened.
Yeah, it came out
Yeah.
Monday that
So-
he had gotten it. I don't want to go crazy in depth with it because we've hit on the big points of how ridiculous it is, but that's the problems of why people see our sport as being just in over here,
Yeah.
not elite.
A
You know what I
gimmick.
mean?
Like we're in La La Land.
We
sometimes.
are. We're making up rules as we go.
Yep.
I understand. I thought maybe that they were going to bury Larson in this, like make him the scapegoat of all the wrongdoing that they have done before, which I think is wrong.
Right.
Larson,
but,
out of
but
all the
I could
playoff,
see him doing it.
could.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the problem.
that is the problem, because I feel like Larson he was racing in another other series that just brought you so many viewers
Right.
that, to me, yes, you have to give him a waiver. Granted, good, bad, and different. He was not injured. I know injuries are bad, and we don't want anyone to get injured, but you missed 7 races because you broke your leg snowboarding. Come on, man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And I mean, granted, they decided to say at the Indy 500, and I'm sorry if this offends you, but the Indy 500 is bigger than any NASCAR race.
100%.
Now, the rest of their season, couldn't tell you what happens.
No.
But I always watch the Indy 500, and I mean, that to me, that is the biggest race in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, some people could say it's the biggest race in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's bigger than all 36 races we have.
Pat McAfee talked about it.
Right.
He was there.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And for him to go there, now, granted, he finished 18th. He split on pit road, but I mean, he qualified 5th, was running top 10 all day. I mean, that shows you how good NASCAR drivers are,
Yeah.
right? That he could waltz in there
He could.
like it's nothing. And generational talent. I feel like it's been a while since we've said it.
It has.
But still, every time a NASCAR driver has done the double, it showed how good NASCAR drivers are.
Yes.
So we're obviously we're helping Indy more than we're helping NASCAR, but it's we're puffing our chest saying, yeah, we have the best racers.
You know what I wish after all this double talk, and I know we talked about, what was the last driver to try to do it? Tony?
Kurt Busch. Yep.
Okay, Kurt Busch was the last guy to do it or try to do it. I think we should encourage more Indy guys to try to do it.
Yeah, well, Joseph Newgarden said he wanted to.
Yeah. If there is another team, if he's not on a better team than Team Penske to get another car.
You see what what would screw him? It would not be Joseph's fault.
No.
Because Joseph, not that I watch Indy. This is just what I've heard. One of the best oval drivers they have, because they only run a handful of ovals.
Mm-hmm.
But now when Kyle Larson gets to go there, it's the whole month of May.
Yes.
Right. You have carb day. You have open test. You have qualifying that for some reason lasts like 3 days.
Yeah, it's way too long.
I don't know if it's too long because it's a spectacle, right? I think
It
that
is.
build up.
It is cool.
It's cool, right?
It is
but
cool.
like it's on Peacock, we can't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Different story. But Kyle Larson had so many laps in that car. You come to NASCAR, what are you going to get, a 15-minute practice?
15-minute practice. Yeah.
He has no chance. And I mean, I want him to have a chance. I agree with you. I think I would love to see Joseph Newgarden do that.
I want to encourage on both sides.
Yes,
because
and we should work together. There should be no competition.
There should be competition within competition.
Right.
We should want anyone that thinks that they're the best driver in the best series. Like, I would encourage any F1 guy. I know they can't make it happen and they're getting paid way too much money to do what they do, but I would love to see an F1 guy in a stock car.
I would too.
Just
to see what it's like.
I would love to see a NASCAR guy in an F1 car.
Yes.
Because I guarantee there's a lot of them. And not as many, but I'm going to go generational talent. Kyle Larson,
I think he would do fine.
He would do fine.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd win.
You
by
put him in
any
the right
stretch
car,
of
though.
Yes.
You put him in a Red Bull car.
Yeah.
Oh
He's going to
my
match
God.
Verstappen.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
And the thing I've always heard, I know we're getting a little off tangent, but I just want to say this is, they've talked about why doesn't Indy and NASCAR do double headers together?
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's so much ego of, well, who's going to be the main event, right? You go to dirt races, You know what I mean? If we go next weekend, I'm going to go to maybe you'll come too. I don't know.
I will be there.
Lucas Oil is running at Smoky Mountain, right? Well, all the local series, all the local guys are going to play second fiddle. Lucas Oil is going to be the main attraction, and they're cool with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Lucas Oil, but if NASCAR and Indy do that, they're like, well, we should be the main attraction. We should be. The only time they've ever done a double is they did the Indy road course and the Xfinity road course at Indy, and of course NASCAR was like, okay, we'll be Saturday because we're always Saturday, and Indy can be Sunday.
Yeah,
that's the only time, in my knowledge, that that's ever happened.
I'm fine with that though.
I'm fine with that, but I want it to be Cup. Like I mean, when we go to Texas, which sucks, but IndyCar puts on pretty decent races there. Why can't we be together?
Yeah, why can't we?
And when I was younger, we used to go to the Texas race, and it would be trucks on Saturday and Indy on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so they even worked together a little bit better back then, but now it's just like there's so much ego there. And there's really, to bring this back, there's a lot of ego in the waiver decision too.
Do you think, not to go on another tangent, but Indy has always been covered by NBC. NASCAR, all these that you're talking about are kind of Fox things. Do you think this is...
Some of that, yes.
It has to be, right?
But now Indy's has talks of going to Fox.
Okay.
But
That's a horrible decision, by the way.
That's what everyone
If I
saying,
can warn any Indy fan, you do not want to be on Fox.
Oh, they don't want it. They don't want it. I'm telling you right now. Because most Indy fans are also NASCAR fans.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the problem. You have to have networks align and all that stuff too. But it's just so silly to me. I mean, I think IndyCar, and we are on a tangent here, but that's okay.
Did.
That's okay. We'll finish waivers up real quick. I think IndyCar is a really great product for what it is.
Yes.
If you like open wheel racing, like if you're a Formula One fan, that's fine. You probably like Formula One for the personalities.
Yeah.
Indy has better personalities. And Indy has better racing. Even on road courses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are high tech. I mean, I still don't understand. They were talking about Larson in the Indy 500, like tuning the engine and messing with the drag and everything on his steering wheel. Dude, I'm lost. I have no idea.
It's insane that you can do that from the steering wheel.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah. And NASCAR's pretty advanced, but not that advanced. I mean, I don't think people realize what they have here in the States. And we can go, even us, we could go down to Alabama and watch IndyCar right down the road from Talladega at Skip Barber.
Yep.
I mean, we have an elite, very elite open wheel series here in the States.
There is no reason that if you're in the States and then you watch F1 at 7 o'clock in the morning that you can't tune into an Indy race and honestly leave more satisfied. Because
you would, you would for sure.
Because you don't know who's going to win.
No,
necessarily.
And to me, it's like I view it the same way as let's take this is kind of a very broad comparison, but take a town like Atlanta. They have the Braves and they have the Falcons, right? Both sports teams. You can cheer for both. Like that's how America.
You rally around a city.
That's how
do
America
that all the time.
That's how America as a whole should see NASCAR and IndyCar.
We're cheering for a motorsport.
Yes, and I think finally fans are on board with that.
Yeah.
I mean, now there's more like NASCAR's anti-F1, F1's anti-NASCAR. I think there's been no better time that NASCAR and IndyCar fans agree. Yes. So
let's go. Let's make this happen.
I know. I agree.
Yeah. I cheer on Tennessee softball just because I like the Volunteers, and I want to hear.
Exactly.
I want to hear on ESPN when they go, "Hey, for the 30 seconds that they touch on the women's softball. No offense to you women's softball players, you guys are great, but it's not a hot button issue. It's really small. But for the 45 seconds that they touch on it, I want to see them say on national television that the Tennessee Volunteers ladies softball team won the national championship.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So. And I mean, it's a great conversation, but we'll keep it moving. I know.
So waivers are bad.
Waivers are bad, and I just want to close with this. They waited so long to give Larson his waiver. I think that was NASCAR's ego.
Yes.
We talked about ego. That's basically what this was all about.
Yeah.
Ego. This conversation we just had. In my opinion, you could fix waivers like this.
Yes.
Get rid of when you're in. If you want to have your goofy format, playoff, whatever, that's fine. Get rid of winning you're in. Make wins basically worth double points.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So give him an extra 50 points for winning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're 30th in points, and I looked at the points today, the people, 20th to 30th, they're all right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's really a big gap. It kind of lines up with the top 16 drivers. So if you're Corey LaJoy and you're 30th in points or whatever he is, if he lucks into a win, you give him the win points, which is huge compared to the people he's running around.
Yeah.
Plus an additional 50. He's already pretty close to cracking that top 16.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And if he doesn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get rid of winning you're in, give an additional 50 points for every win, which makes wins worth something, which they already are, right? They're already worth something because we put a gold star on it and say you're already in.
They're worth that money though too.
Yeah, they're worth that money.
That's why they're doing it. That's why they're doing it.
They're doing that, but they also want these guys to. When they came out with this system of when you're in there, to say, okay, everybody's going to go for it. Well, what? Now we're smart, right? Like everything with NASCAR. Now you've got these guys like, look at Bubba, and he's been in this situation several years. He's right on that cusp.
Yep.
Right. Well, he's fighting 5, 6, 7 people that are also not necessarily winners every week, right? Yep. They don't have winning cars. So now they're points racing.
Yep.
So you made this system to encourage wins, but all you've done is encourage that bubble to points race.
Yeah.
So get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bubba's going to let Larson go on by because he already has 3 wins.
He already has 3 wins.
But,
right.
But when he sees Eric Jones or I can't think of any names on the bubble right now, but
even a Chris Buescher, right? If Bubba's leading and battling Larson, right, and he knows he's slower, but he can try to slow him down. But Chris Buescher's in third. It's more beneficial for him to let Larson pass.
Yes,
because Larson's already in.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm not gonna risk wrecking myself and finishing 30th.
Mm-hmm.
I'll finish second and get my points.
Yeah.
Right. It's devolved into back to points racing.
Yes.
So get rid of winning you're in. 50 additional points for winning, and if you miss a race like Kyle Larson, that's fine.
Yeah,
because he lost.
You just get 0 points.
You get 0 points, right? You get 0 points, and if you want to come back and tear off 3 or 4 wins, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come back and you can't ever recover from that, tough shit.
Yep.
I mean, I think
you're SOL, son.
I think that's the easiest solution.
It is the easiest solution.
I mean,
because it is ridiculous to have a playoff, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. It's ridiculous to have a playoff waiver that every time you slide it across the desk, it gets slid right back to you. Granted, like why are we putting in for something that every time that it happens, we just grant it to you?
Yeah, except for in my opinion, the most legitimate one.
Yes,
that took a week and a half to do.
Yes, the most legitimate one.
Yes, he wasn't out snowboarding. No. He wasn't out wrecking people. I mean, he did something good for the betterment. And if NASCAR really cares about the betterment of motorsports, like they claim they do, I'm sorry he didn't make it. But Rick Hendrick, I saw the number today. He spent $3 million to get Kyle Larson there.
Yeah.
And Rick Hendrick is also the same one that you said, hey, we want to race at Le Mans.
Yep.
Will you spend ungodly amount of money to build a car and ship it over to Le Mans?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, that's fine because I care about NASCAR and I care about motorsports.
Yeah.
And now you're going to slap Rick Hendrick in the face? It's ridiculous. And we knew he was going to get it.
Yes.
We knew he was going to get it. But the fact it took so long.
No, it really, I mean, I texted you about it. I was like, is this going to happen?
I know.
Because we hadn't heard anything about it.
We hadn't heard anything. And even last week on the pod here, we were like, well, we know he's going to get it. We glanced over it because it's like, it was so silly.
Silly.
So silly.
Like we said, Chase Elliott got it in a day.
In a day. A day. For sending someone firewall deep.
Yeah.
Which, if that's the game you want to play, that's fine. But why did Larson take a week and a half?
Yeah.
So,
And then the last thing I'll say, for the chairman of the NASCAR board, did you see his interview or whatever, his statement that he made?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
That's
we
Eldon
looked at
Sawyer.
every
That's-
possible outcome. What do you mean? This should have been a quick Zoom call.
No, I'm telling you that, and that's why we talked about it last week too. It's a private company, right?
Yeah.
There can be 20 people in charge of that decision, but if the right number one person has an opinion, it's going to slow everything down.
Yes.
It's going to slow everything, and that's the box we're in.
So we probably think that one of those people didn't want to give Kyle Larson.
Someone with the last name France,
Yep.
for sure,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yep.
sure,
Mhm.
because they have ego, right? They're
Yep.
like, why would you prioritize the Indy 500? We're NASCAR, and it's like,
Yep.
because it's
Yep.
the Indy 500,
Yes.
and it benefited everybody.
Yes, it did.
And the other thing is, y'all didn't even care enough about the Coke 600 to run the whole race.
No, you didn't.
So you can't have it. You can't have it both ways. Like, oh, you should have prioritized NASCAR. Well, I don't care if you have to finish this race at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
You didn't even prioritize
Make it happen.
You didn't even prioritize your own race enough to finish it.
Yeah.
You ran 373.5 miles, and you wanna dog this guy
Yeah. Yeah.
for picking the Indy 500.
Who still made it to your race?
Yeah, the Indy 500 that said, yeah, we're gonna have a 4-hour delay, but we're gonna get it in.
Did you? And again, not to go on another tangent, but did you see? Did you listen to Kevin's podcast
A little bit, yeah.
about what he said about it?
What do you say?
Well, because we talked about it on our podcast that how you thought Fox was the reason that they called it, and dude, he went on like probably an 8-minute tangent about how Fox has zero discussion about when to call the race. It's all up to NASCAR.
I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
Dude,
I don't believe
you
him.
have to come out and say that.
Yeah.
That
I
means
don't. I don't believe you.
You're deflecting. You're deflecting. Okay, you're deflecting. And I love Kevin. Okay?
Yeah.
But he is a paid spokesman of Fox.
He is.
Okay.
He is. Yeah.
And
He's drinking that Kool-Aid.
He is. He's drinking that Kool-Aid. He has to because he's getting paid a lot of money. And
Yeah.
kudos to him for doing that because he's still the best one in the booth. He's still the best one there.
He is.
He's the best one there. But he's drinking the Kool-Aid, and he came on his podcast that's produced by Fox. He was like, dude,
The stars are aligning.
Yeah, Fox has nothing to do with
Yeah.
calling the race.
I don't believe him.
Yeah,
I don't believe him.
either. I don't
Yeah.
either. But okay.
Wow.
Waivers are
that,
bad.
that turned into great conversation.
Yes, it
I'll
did.
agree. And
Yeah.
luckily, we're going to recap Gateway here.
Yep.
And neither one of us really watched it.
No,
So,
we had a big wedding. Shout out. I don't know if they're watching from the DR. Juice and Anna, you guys are great.
Appreciate it. Well, he
Yeah.
did send me a Snapchat today. I'm sure he sent it to
Yeah.
you too. He was sitting at the resort at the
Yep.
honeymoon and said, how's work today?
Yep. Yeah, dude, he sent me the same one, and I was mad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, go fuck yourself.
yeah,
So
yeah, for real.
it's like work or the rest of my life with somebody. I think you got the wrong end of the deal, Jason.
Yeah, you did. Marriage is not real.
But anyway, so we'll just go ahead and do a good race rating. I mean, you listen on the radio.
I did.
So we were driving home, and I had Brittany watch it on the phone. She wouldn't let. I shouldn't say this, but I'll usually put it on my dash and watch it because I travel a lot.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't let me do that, so she's just watching it, so I can hear the god awful Fox commentary.
Oh.
And then when I can't see something, I have to hear Brittany describe what happened. So it's like.
Is that maybe worse?
It's like Mike Joy times 2. To be honest, it's not good.
Sounds like a Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah. So we got home, and then like stage 3 started. Honestly, we took a nap. We were exhausted. Yeah. What a weekend we had,
Dude, it was.
And then I just so happened to wake up. The NASCAR gods woke me up, and Bell and Blaney were battling. So I got to see the last of that. And then I think you listened to the whole thing on the radio.
I did. I listened to the whole thing. I was driving the whole time. I listened to MRN though. So shout out to
every lap was amazing.
Shout out to the NASCAR app though for being such an underrated app.
It is.
Really is. It's a little buggy, like just a tad. But if they would put probably another $500,000 into that thing, and I know that sounds like a lot of money, but not to NASCAR.
Not to them.
No,
not to them. Not to
if
anyone
you put
named
another
France.
$500,000 into that app, it could be the best sports app that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it really, like if you have a NASCAR question or anything or want to see anything, all you have to do is just hit that app and you're just scrolling and you're like, okay, I got my answer.
And I'll say one thing too, quick on that. So I went to Wilkesboro last minute, right? Me and shout out Noah, got me tickets. obviously didn't rent a scanner because it was
Yeah.
last minute. And I was like, man, I'll bring my AirPods and I think I'll have service. I did.
Mhm.
And I might have even mentioned this, but I listened to the MRN and the scanners in my AirPods at the track.
Heck yeah. Yeah. You can't
Now
beat
it was
that.
a little bit behind, but I mean, if you're telling me like, hey, I can save you $150 to be a lap and a half behind, I'm gonna put my AirPods in.
Yep. Yeah, you are.
So
So great app. Again, like you said, every lap is the last lap. There's no experience like listening to an MRN race. But of course they're calling at the end. We get the battle of Christopher Bell and Blaney, and it was magical, really. I mean,
and on TV it was too,
Yeah.
except for when Fox, there's a battle for the lead and they cut to somebody in the stands. And not only did they cut to somebody in the stands, it was a double picture, right? So the picture on the right was a still frame of these two fans. And the picture on the left was a live picture of those same two fans.
oh my!
It's like they had
goodness.
screwed something up in the production. But yeah, like Clint Boyer didn't stop calling it. Like kudos to him.
Good.
Even though I'm not a
Yeah.
huge Clint Boyer fan, but he kept calling the race. And we're just watching somebody with a Blaney shirt and somebody with the Seabell shirt, which is fine. I mean, like that. I guess that's cool, but like not the time. Not the time.
No.
And they showed that, and then they cut back, and then it's like they're still racing. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So, side note, Fox sucks. We
Yeah,
have
they-
one more race.
One more.
And
I'm sad to see my boy Kevin go, but dude, Fox has got to go. Fox
They
has
have
got to
to.
go.
They
And
have
that's
to.
going to be an overview, and I'm going to get to lead an overview, and you're about to hear a rant from.
I'm gonna
hell.
sit back.
Yeah, because I'm gonna
might-
stand up.
I might unplug my mic.
You might. I'm gonna go off on him.
So real quick, we'll talk about
Would you rate him?
man.
Rate it.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but honestly, I didn't expect much. I have no issue with like a just regular straight up race,
No.
especially one that comes down to exciting finish. It's Gateway. We've seen it 3 times now. I'm gonna give it a 7-7.
Okay.
Because I have no problem just watching a race.
No.
I don't know why there's this expectation for every race to be amazing. I've watched many a Tennessee football game that was just a football game, and I'm still happy to be there.
Yeah.
So
I give it an 8.3.
okay,
And I think
Yeah.
that boost was because of MRN.
and that's fine.
Yes.
and that's fine.
And again, it was high quality racing through the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
and strategy played a key. But
strategy-
if I had to pick on anything, tires didn't matter.
yeah.
We're used to that by now.
We are.
And
We are.
and the only thing that keeps me like being a NASCAR apologist on that is I know they're working on it.
They are.
They're working on
Mhm.
it, and I mean they don't want it to be shitty. No. So I thought it was crazy that Seabell was about to blow an engine.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that a whole lot. And
That seems like 2015 days.
it does.
It's like something that you see in a Gen 6 down car.
Yes, and it still didn't blow.
I know.
Right, but that tells you how in tune he is with his race car, and also it's all digital now, so there's probably a code that came up, like, but he didn't have to stop at AutoZone for them to read it. It just came up.
Okay. You stop at AutoZone one time.
But they have the computer, so
Yeah.
it told them, probably whatever code.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blaney, they didn't get enough fuel in it. They looked back. Larry Mack told us afterwards, Cindric put 2 cans in it, not 2 full cans, but they put a second can in it. And then Blaney just didn't. So that's on his crew chief for sure.
100%. Blaney
Or
has,
whoever's making those
yes.
adjustments or those calculations.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine. I mean, I think
But
that.
I do, and not to cut you off,
You're
but I
fine.
do think he had to have that because he passed Seabell on pit road. Like,
Yeah.
he came out first.
So that's a risk they're taking, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is exactly.
And his crew chief.
completely strategy.
And his crew
involved.
chief might have ran those numbers and been like,
Yep.
we're sure. And they said it was a quarter gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So a quart.
Yeah.
Literally a quart. 32 ounces of fuel.
Yeah. So maybe like
And
a
so his
quarter
crew chief-
second. Something.
Yeah, and his crew chief's probably saying, it's a winner you're in, right?
Yes.
Once again, it's a winner you're in. I'll take that gamble.
Yep.
Because what's it matter? Really? I mean, he's still going to point his way in. But
He's probably gonna be sitting 8th.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
fine. He's
yeah.
fine. Wherever X amount of winners, he's probably the first one
No.
that hasn't won.
No, the only gift that was given is Austin Cindric because he was not
Yes.
going to point his way in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he Santa Claus came on a June day.
Yeah.
in St. Louis.
Yeah,
you know,
and we'll take that right into standouts because I don't think Austin Cindric's a terrible driver by any means. No. I just thought he wasn't a Cup driver. You can't tell me because he won the Daytona 500 that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm sorry. I might be off on that, but it doesn't mean a thing to me.
it's just another super speedway.
Another super speedway. They've gotten ridiculous. But I thought even with his dad being the president of Penske that he might be on the hot seat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think much like Daniel Suarez at Atlanta, this buys him some time.
It does.
But he was nowhere near a playoff driver until this happened. Do you think with Ford coming on, obviously he had speed the whole day.
Yeah.
And it's not a super speedway. He was up there.
Yeah.
Right?
He would have finished if Seabell didn't blow an engine and of course Blaine didn't run out of gas, he would have finished third.
Yeah.
And
which is respectable.
Very.
Right? And you're like,
very.
okay, maybe he's turning it on.
Yep.
Do you think we see anything else from him the rest of the year?
Mm-mm.
Even
Still
with
no.
Ford, I mean they obviously have speed.
They obviously have speed. I still only think he gets like 3 top 10s at the most. I definitely don't think he wins. I think he only gets 3 top 10s for the rest of the year. Like, I just don't see anything in him. Even up until this point, Joey and Blaney had been running better. Kind of like what Kevin was doing at SHR, and that was just being better than every single guy on his team, and that was Blaney and Joey up until this point. Cindric had been, who is that guy? Literally,
For sure.
Who is driving
For sure.
the number 2 car?
Yeah.
Because it's no one worth a damn.
I was almost putting him in the same category as Harrison Burton.
Yes,
Which is cruel.
It is
but
cruel.
It was there, and I just feel like maybe Cindric's a little bit like Blaney, where nothing against Blaney, but I don't think Blaney can win a race unless he has the best car.
Yes. I
really don't.
I know
And-
there's
and-
going to be a guy out there that's not going to like to hear that, but
Yeah, I know. Well, sorry, JD.
Yeah.
But and I think Blaney's had a good car. However many times he's won, 10, 11, something like that. Not know for how long he's been doing it, but he Cindric had a 3rd place car, but you got to put yourself in position.
Yes.
The fastest car does not win the race.
A lot
Probably
of the time.
about half the time, honestly. I feel for Seabell because I don't know how many times he has to have the best car and the best performance and not win.
Yeah.
But I just know that when it matters, Seabell will show up.
Yes, he will.
So I'm not worried about him.
No.
But I think Cindric's off the hot seat is what I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was probably already had a little bit of some leeway
Mm-hmm.
being Mr. President's son.
Yep.
But I think this buys him some time. So
Definitely does.
I put him a little bit on the same track as Daniel Suarez.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
I think you have to. And the only other comparison that I can really think about, of course, is Austin Dillon. But I definitely think they're in a different predicament.
Dude, if Austin Dillon was anybody else, he would have been fired 6 years ago.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that Penske is enough like any other race team that I don't care who's driving your car. If you're underperforming for so long, you're gone.
Yeah. Roger
You know?
doesn't care.
No.
And that's the one thing that I will say. Even when Austin Cindric got the ride, I'm like, is it a little bit of nepotism? Yes, because he's only there because that's the only reason they know who he was,
Yes.
right? But he can't help that.
No.
But also, Roger's not going to put a slouch in his cars.
You know.
And he's not going to put up with it either.
No.
We've seen him fire people.
Yep.
Several people.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be the real deal. Maybe he's just coming on. Maybe he's a late bloomer.
I think I don't know if he's a late bloomer per se, but I could definitely see him in his career probably winning 25 races, maybe getting.
It's a big number.
It is a big
It's a
number.
big number, yeah.
But I'm also I think longevity is a big thing now.
It is.
If you
It
hang
is.
around and you're on a team like Penske, okay, the Fords are going to have their run for a while, and say in this run here at the end of the season, he rattles off 2 wins per year, 15 years.
You're exactly right.
That's
because
30
he's young.
wins.
He's
Yeah,
young.
He's young.
Yeah.
So and again, that goes back to my Hall of Fame thing that
Do you put him in?
Exactly.
You put him in at 29 wins.
No.
He's going to make it. If he gets 29 wins, he's going to make it.
I know, but
Yeah.
but I mean,
Because he's an Xfinity champion, too.
I know. So, but it's one of those things. But I'm just saying, like the eye test. I think the eye test is a big thing that NASCAR misses on a lot of things. And I think every other sport does a good job on the eye test.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just looking at what they've done for the sport. Like when you watch Jimmy Johnson, what he did for the sport was crazy. You know, and again, not to go off on a crazy tangent, but the eye test is big. And right now, Cindric has not done anything for me on the eye test. Like
I agree.
Nothing.
I agree.
Zero.
And you know, he was kind of touted as a big road course guy.
Yeah.
And
Still hasn't won one.
Yeah, still hasn't won one, and is almost non-existent. And maybe now that they've got speed, maybe he's got a little bit of confidence. Maybe he comes to Sonoma, and I think for me to think that Austin Cindric is legitimate and a late bloomer of sorts, you know what I mean? I want to see a top 10 run at Sonoma.
Yes.
And then I'll buy in a little bit.
Yes.
I'll buy in a little bit. Because as of now,
if he runs 23rd, you're like, this is a fluke.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a fluke, right? They hit the setup because the other thing is, you know, Joey talked about at Wilkesboro, they did that test.
Yep.
They obviously figured something out on shorter tracks and flatter track. Not that Gateway's short, but it's a flatter track. So maybe they have something. We know Ford, at least in the next gen area, is sandbagged.
Yep.
So they come on, and maybe he just had a really good car, really good setup. And maybe he's one of those drivers that, like I said, when he's got the best car, for all we know, Cindric had the best car of the day and still was running third until stuff happened. You know,
We don't.
and that's kind of what's cool about NASCAR in the same way is we don't know.
We don't.
You know, the guy that finished 10th could have had the best car, but it was still whoever that was.
You had to drive it.
You had to drive it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Real quick, we will hit Carson versus Corey. Dude, Corey is lost as last year's Easter egg. I don't know what he is doing, but Carson finished 10th.
Yeah.
Corey finished, I think, 63rd.
Maybe he's one of those. He might still be running.
He might still be running. He's still making his laps up. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think they just fueled him up.
He has zero excuse this week because Zane even went off.
Zane, do you want to hear a crazy stat?
Yes.
Crazy stat.
Yes.
Carson Hocevar has 2 top 10s on non-super speedway races this year. Okay. So we're not counting Daytona. We're not
Texas
and
this week.
Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, super speedway, drafting tracks.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yep. You're saying Carson has 2 top 10s on non-drafting tracks.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I see.
I'm saying
sorry.
that those.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm saying that those 2 races are Texas and Gateway.
I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but we're excluding Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Corey LaJoie in his career has 0 top 10s on any non-super speedway tracks. And you might say, well, Spire's only been good this year. Fair enough. Maybe Spire's only been good this year. Carson has 2 this year.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Yep.
I think he is officially on the hot seat.
Yes.
When you spend more time behind a microphone than running top 20 per week,
Yep.
you're on the hot seat.
I hope so. I really hope so.
And that's legit. I mean, I know that's a funny thing to say.
Yeah.
But honestly, think about it. This dude does an hour and a half podcast every week. He spends more time behind a microphone than running top 20 every week.
Yes.
Crazy to think about. But what are you doing? I'd spend that hour and a half in the sim,
something,
writing some notes.
Yeah.
Maybe
watching a race.
Just something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there saying stacking pennies. Yeah. Dude, you ain't stacking anything. Yeah. It's insane. I mean, it's really insane because, and I know Colby's called me out on this. I used to be a Corey LaJoie fan.
Mm-hmm. You were the one that turned me on to him.
Right. Because you legitimately thought he was outperforming his equipment. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you wonder. I know Spire, every year they get better as an organization. Not just their drivers, but as an organization. But it makes you wonder, if you had a Carson Hocevar type 3 years ago, like where would they be?
What could you
'Cause
have done?
I legitimately at this point I think he's holding them back.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I think that he is their premier driver, if you know what I mean. Like when they market something,
They started that.
They started him.
Yes.
They
Yes.
started him, and no one wants to rally around that guy. And so you're slowly shunning him off to go after Carson. Carson is about to be the face of Spire at the end of this year.
Right. And if they're not careful, if you keep people around like Corey,
Yeah.
right, Carson's going to be like, well, they're not, they obviously don't want to progress.
Yep.
He's going to get offers.
Yes.
He might go somewhere else.
Yes.
And
If Trackhouse were to call
Right.
him,
Yes.
If any of these,
God forbid they finally get tired of Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Alex Bowman fan.
exactly,
But it's getting hard, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's getting hard.
It is.
Do you pay Carson Hocevar peanuts? Peanuts to
Get him in that
say
48
you're an HMS driver. You're an HMS driver.
He'd be all over that.
You jump ship because you're like, well, what do I have here at Spire?
Yeah.
They're gonna stick around with a guy like Corey LaJoy.
Yep.
We're never gonna get, and I feel like Kyle Busch is in that. It's and this is a huge jump, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you got to think Kyle Busch is sitting there at RCR saying, "Are we really trying to get better when we're still employing grandson?" And Carson's like, "Are we really trying to get better when we're keeping Corey LaJoy around?"
Yeah.
I know it's a huge jump.
It is a jump.
It's a jump, but I'm saying like the mentality might be a little bit the same.
No, I definitely.
If Carson gets offers,
yeah.
that might be the same.
Yeah, I definitely see it, especially from Carson Hocevar's side, because he's so young, because he's going to be in the sport for a while. I literally think just Kyle Busch left because he was done racing for Joe Gibbs.
Well, they couldn't
And
find him sponsors either.
They couldn't find him sponsors, and RCR was paying ungodly amounts of money. And the sad thing is. And again, you can say whatever you want to about Kyle Busch. His attitude has changed to where he does not care. Like he's like, we suck. He continues to say we suck. And as you know, I don't care. I know you can say that and whatever, but that's not the face that you put on when you're trying to get better.
No.
You do not kick the guys that work for you every single day
Because
to
they're
build
trying.
They are.
They're trying.
They don't get the recognition to be on TV.
They don't want to suck.
They don't. Yeah,
No.
because when the RCR dissolves, they want to be able to go somewhere else.
Right.
And
They want to have a resume.
exactly. Right? So that shows me that Kyle Busch is on a different level in that. But I see the jump that you're trying to make there. But you're exactly right. Carson, if he gets any call from any premier team anywhere, I don't care if it's Chevy, Ford, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone if they stick with Corey.
Yeah.
Now if they get rid of him,
you might have something to build on.
Seriously,
Right.
you would.
And I think they look at that.
Performing. Yes.
Yeah,
I
think those drivers look at that.
What is my front arm? Because you know that when you do your regular job, and you get absolutely yelled at for doing something, and your coworker over here can't even show up on time.
Right. You're like, what am I doing here?
What am I doing here?
Yes.
Let me find some place that appreciates me.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. It's the same thing on any. You could work at McDonald's, but if you're
the principle is the same.
Yes, the principle is the same. So keep the fire, Carson.
Yeah.
Keep the fire on that motorsports team, and we're going to see what they're made of.
Yeah.
Because to me, I wish there was 8 Hendrick teams. You know what I mean? If they're all that good.
Yeah.
So
I want a team as good as Hendrick to still finish 30th.
Yes.
Because there's 8 Hendricks, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good point. I love what you said there. The only thing I wanted to close on standouts, we've got some guys, and this might be long too, and it doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be. But
we'll keep it short.
Obviously, all the ACHR guys are looking for new rides. I actually don't think anything. I'm looking at the names here. I think Briscoe. The rumors he's going to the 21.
Yeah.
So
That's easy. That's
easy. That's easy. I think he fits in that culture.
Yeah.
Penske probably likes him.
Yeah.
Gregson, I don't know. I think if front row, they've already bought one charter. Did you see they re-signed Todd Gilliland?
I saw that.
So I think they re-signed Todd Gilliland, and people are like, well, why did Michael McDowell leave? hot take, I think they told Michael McDowell to leave. I think they played that Joe Gibbs.
It was either you need to go out on your own or we're going to get rid of you.
Yeah, and I think they were like, hey, you're 39.
Yeah.
We love what you've done, but we had this giant opportunity. We're looking to the future.
Yeah. So you think there's a seat for maybe Barry and Gregson?
That's what I think. I don't know, but I think that's where those two are going. I think.
No way anybody picks up Priest.
I think Priest is out.
Yeah, Priest is done.
I think Priest
I
is
think
out.
that's the most we can all agree on that. Priest is donezo.
And I think Priest is probably. I've said it before. I think he's a great driver.
Yeah.
Maybe not a Cup driver. Maybe he just doesn't know the right things to say. Maybe he doesn't fit in. Maybe he's a little old school, a little small town racer a little bit. It just doesn't mesh. Unfortunately, it's a personality game too. And I think he just doesn't make the cut. I think we don't see Priest anymore.
Nope.
The only other one I want to touch on is we've got Zane Smith and SVG signed to Trackhouse. The rumor is, and if you kind of look at where the charters are going, rumors are we've got 1 to front row, probably 1 to Trackhouse, 1 to 2311. That kind of leaves another one we don't really know about.
We don't know.
But let's say Trackhouse gets 1. They've got 2 drivers signed. SVG is 38. Will probably be 39 next year. I think you go SVG, not Zane Smith.
Ooh, that's big too.
I mean, I don't know.
I think
I don't know
right.
what you do with Zane Smith. And the other thing is, if this charter agreement gets signed that says you can only have 3 charters, unless you're Hendrick and Joe Gibbs, which we touched on last week.
Ridiculous.
So now, let's say you're Justin Marks and you say I can only get 1 more. You have Zane Smith, or you have. I disagree.
You go SVG?
Yes, because he's got 7 opportunities to win. For sure.
That's true. Okay.
Road courses. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
And once again, with this ridiculous format,
Yeah.
even if SVG could run 35th every week, but he wins 1 road course, the worst he can finish in points is 16th.
Yeah.
What's Zane Smith going to do? Zane Smith hasn't told me, and I love Zane Smith. I think he's a great race car driver. I'm sure he's in a weird situation with Spire. Maybe they're not giving him all the resources. I still don't know how that works.
We don't. Yep.
But SVG is also very mature.
Mm-hmm.
He's a grown-ass man.
Yep.
He's going to put the work in.
Yep.
He uprooted his whole life to be here, so you know his commitment's there. Why not? You can almost just tell Zane Smith, give us 2 years. Yeah. He's young enough that he might stick around.
And I honestly, I don't see what is literally the only person that could change this deal is Spire, but I feel like they could leave him in that car for as long as you want. You know what I mean? If Justin Marks is putting up the money for it,
right?
Like literally, hey, this is perfect for us because we can be a 3-car team with only being a 2-car team.
Yes,
only having
which is pretty much what's happening.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. And when Trackhouse does good on their end, Spire does good. Because they're getting some of that. That means more money to Zane. And if Zane does good, even better.
It's a win-win then.
We're playing with house money. So, all right.
And like this week, like you said, Zane outperformed Corey.
Yes. And again, now granted, we weren't keeping track, but I will say Corey's probably got him, on that.
But Zane has more than he should.
100%. Yes.
Corey should have 100% of those.
Yeah.
That's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll give him maybe 1 or 2 for wrecking out, but it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get back on that, but the other thing I will say before we get off standouts, back to Corey LaJoy, I have noticed more people on social media turning on Corey LaJoy.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yep.
My Twitter name.
Yep.
We're gonna say is Corey LaJoy's ego.
Yes.
And
follow him.
And my profile picture is you ever been on the interstate and there's there's like a big tractor trailer.
Yep.
And it says wide load.
Yep.
That's my profile picture. Because his ego is gigantic.
It is.
Right.
And that's exactly what I'm hoping that Zane and Carson do is humble him.
Yeah.
That's what he needs.
And dude, and I
that's
remember
what he needs.
When they signed Carson. This is before Carson ever turned a lap in the 77 car. I was telling people, I was like, wait till next year when Carson outperforms him. And honestly, a little bit of me was like, I'm kind of talking out of my ass a little bit.
Yeah.
But by God, if it
Here
hasn't
we
been
are.
true. And I mean, and now every time they post, like Spire will always post where everybody finished, right? Every week, all 3 cars. And people will just shit on Corley Joy's life. And now all I comment is, I'm glad to see all of y'all are come to terms with it. Because my job is done.
Yep.
My job is done.
Stats are going to speak for themselves in this situation.
But Corley Joy's ego is a wide load. That's all I had to say. Look me up. So let's get in.
It took 17 episodes to get it out of him. But
Yeah.
we finally
but
got it.
I'm finally comfortable enough to do it.
finally got it,
Yeah.
baby.
We take a pause.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into Drop the Green Bets
Yep.
and see how we did. Where are we sitting at?
Okay, so last week we only had 2, and we went with tie, top 10, and we went with 4 to win. So
Okay. I know one of those hit.
one of those hit, and that was the Sweet Baby Ford to win
Yeah.
plus 230. So we won about 2.5 units on that. So we lost about half a unit. We only lost about half a
Okay.
unit. So now we're down 11. I think we were down 10.5 last week. So we're down 10. Now we're down like 10.5.
Okay.
So
we're down 10.5 units.
Yes, we're down about 10.5 units.
Okay. Plenty of time.
Plenty, dude.
Plenty of time.
We're there. We're gonna get it
What did
back.
Ty Gibbs do to you?
Ty Gibbs did to me what every other good driver has done to me, and that's finish 11th when he needs to finish
Is that
top
the first
10.
time or
That is not the first time. My
how
boy
many
Ro-
times?
That's the first time for him.
Okay. That's what I'm
That's
asking.
the first
Yeah,
time
yeah.
for him. Ross has done it to me twice now, I think. I think that's it. Finishing
I just
11th.
I
when
just
they
wanted
needed
to
top
see.
10.
I mean, just to clarify, do we officially have Ross in the graveyard?
No.
No. Okay. So
was.
our graveyard is empty.
Our graveyard. No, Seabell is in my graveyard.
Seabell's in it,
Yeah,
okay.
Seabell is in
Okay.
my graveyard because
Alright.
every time I bet on him, he has one of those. I'm gonna wreck out and finish 36th. But then I don't bet on him.
Right.
Like right
And he
here,
wins.
and he wins.
Yeah.
But then again, thank the Lord I didn't.
Right.
Because
He decided to blow an engine.
he decided to blow an engine.
Okay.
So
I just want to keep. So we have Seabell in the graveyard.
Seabell's dead to me. And I love him. I think he's really good, but he's dead to me. So
Ross is like in a coma.
Ross is in a coma, and this week is going to test it. So this is
Okay,
This is,
all right.
This is
Get
why
into-
he's
get
not
into it. All
yes,
right.
this is why he's not in the graveyard yet. If he loses me this bet, he is in the graveyard to me.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Fair enough.
He's done to me. But when I was looking at it, driver averages, they've raced there 3 times in the next gen car, I do believe, right? Or out of the last 3 races, 2 times. They
Yep.
raced 2 times.
Yep.
Okay, so this will be the 3rd. Okay, out of the past 3 races, so 2 next gen, 1 not next gen. Ross has finished. He's averaging 8th. Yeah,
Wow.
really good.
You know, one of those years was when he was in the 42 car,
yeah.
and he completely cut the carrot. You know what I'm talking about? Completely cut the carousel, and they didn't call it.
Yeah, they didn't call it,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Okay,
Might skew the results.
maybe. But anyway, top 10. He's averaging 8th out of the last 3 races. He's plus 115 for a top 10. That's unreal. I mean, I'm hoping that's free money, Ross. And you've came off some. He had a decent finish at Gateway. He's good at Gateway though. But
Yeah. Where did he end up finishing? I didn't even
I
know.
think he finished 12th or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Decent-
think he was right
decent
behind
day.
Ty. Decent
Yeah.
day. He was up there. But I'm hoping these Chevys, they're going to get back at it. You cannot count him out. He's going to make the playoffs, and I still think he could make a deep playoff run. He could get hot. I could definitely see Trackhouse out of all the teams taking one out of Penske, out of the Ford's
Think
book,
so?
and just
You think-
sandbagging.
The only thing that worries me is like if a Chevy team figures it out, why Trackhouse and not?
No, 100%.
It's just weird. I mean,
I'm not saying he's going to win.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. That's why we're betting top 10s.
Okay.
That's exactly. But plus 115, a whole unit.
all right.
Yeah. We're going deep, and
And,
then
and he's on the cusp of the graveyard.
he's
with
on the
this.
cusp of the graveyard. I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
dead. He's dead to me.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as
I,
betting
I
goes.
think
I'm gonna cheer him
eventually
on.
we're going to need to make a graphic
We'll make a graph and we'll
with
put 'em up.
headstones.
Yes. Yeah.
Steve L's on there.
Mm-hmm.
As
And,
a-
and then we'll make a graphic with the graveyard, and then we'll make a graphic with in the same graphic. We'll put the graveyard on one side, and we'll put just the absolute Jesuses on the other. That have risen 3
Put him
days
on the
later.
cross, or what are we doing?
I mean, we might have to crucify Ross.
My God.
My God. But so, C-Bell plus 115, full unit.
Chastain.
Yes, Ross Chastain. I said
Okay.
Ross.
You said Seabell.
Did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I'm just
Ross.
making sure because
No,
I thought
Ross.
Seabell was dead.
Yeah, Seabell's done. Seabell's done.
6 feet under.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. We buried him. Plus 115, Ross Chastain, one full unit. So now I have 2 units to play with, and I dedicated this episode to somebody. We're going 2 full units. Chris Buescher, top 10.
I think that's smart. I think that's solid,
Yeah.
honestly. Because he is. Why is he sneakily a good road course guy?
He is. He's so sneaky.
Yeah.
And right now I'm on the Ford train kind of.
Yeah.
There probably won't be a week until the Ford show me here recently. That I'm not going to bet on a Ford. You know, I don't want to bet on a Ford to win the race. I don't know about that. I think I was looking, surprisingly, Martin Truex is a favorite.
Yeah.
Which
He won last year.
He did win last year. But
He won Sonoma. If I remember right, he won Sonoma in a Michael Waltrip racing car.
yes, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to be really good. But then again, I don't know. Right now the Fords are good. I'm going to ride that train out. Again, we're not going after winners. We're going after 2 top 10 guys. They can finish 9th and 10th. We still make money.
That's
Who
solid.
They
That's
can
solid.
finish 1st and 2nd. We still make money. So minus 180, 2 units. I'm feeling very confident about Chris Buescher. So
Okay.
if there was one bet that we really needed to hit last week, and that was our boy Ty, who finished 11th, and he would be on the graphic. He would be close to the graveyard,
Yeah.
okay? But he's not that super close because he did get us in the Open. He
did,
He won
he
the
did,
Open,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I bet on him. So
We're only half mad at him.
yeah, we're only half mad at him.
Yeah.
We'll let him slide because he did finish 11th. But minus 180, 2 full units. I think this is the week that we could maybe sweep. I want to chase a
We need
sweep.
to.
We need to sweep. We need
Yeah.
to put some sweeps together. After Sonoma, what do we got?
Great question.
Yeah,
Great question.
I don't even know.
Keep
Yeah,
talking.
check real
I can
quick.
check.
But after that, we're gonna try to put together a run here, depending on what we got. We're gonna try to play it smart. We're gonna see who comes out on top. I feel like I went Toyotas pretty heavy, and I went Toyotas heavy when they kind of fell off when the Fords got good.
Yeah. Caught it late.
Yeah.
We have Iowa after Sonoma, which I can't tell you.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
It's
That's
not
gonna
only
be
is it new to Cup, they've ran in Xfinity, but they also
ran
repaved.
trucks.
They repaved part of it.
part of it. So
Like
turns
the
1 and 2. They
Something like
repaved-
that. It's like turns 1 and 2
1 and
and
2.
3 and 4. Like they just put.
It's got to be 1 and 2 because when I drive it on iRacing, the bumps are insane.
Okay, that's what it is. Then.
It has
That's what
to
it
be.
is then.
Dude,
Yeah.
there is a spot in iRacing when I did trucks in it that you could get into turn 1 and you could slow down to where you need to be, and you need to be gassing it, of course, out of the corner. And if you hit them bumps wrong, you're gone. Like
Okay. That must be what it is.
I
Yeah.
think it has to be.
Yeah.
Like turns 3 and 4 were easy money.
But
1 and 2
also,
was sketch.
do you not? I mean, I could be crazy here, but the Cup cars being like those giant tires, could they have not have handled
Maybe.
those?
Maybe.
Why'd they change it?
I don't know. That's a great question. Maybe they changed it because they know all the series are going to be there and to put on a better show.
Who cares?
Yeah. No, I'm
Who
with
cares?
you. Who cares?
All 20 people that watch
Yeah.
the truck race?
I'm
I'm sorry. Sometimes that's me.
Yeah.
Not usually.
yeah.
There's usually better.
I'm numbered 25.
Right.
you
There's
know?
usually better dirt racing that's on
100%.
that night.
Yeah.
No offense.
Some-
I don't know Corey Heim and Ty Majeski. I mean,
Nick Sanchez, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? I got to show you a funny video after this. It's hilarious.
That's my 2 bets. And
I like that. I'm not even going to say what I feel about it because
Okay.
every week I say what I feel about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. But I feel confident in those. I'm really, like I said, if we hit Chris Buescher, we're fine. We get our money back at least, and if we hit Ross, that's what we need to hit.
Yeah,
that's what we need to hit. So we're gonna try to play this a little smarter, and we're gonna dig out of this hole. I'm promising you right now, if we have to put a Mega Max unit on Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson minus 750 to get a top 10, we'll do it.
Well, and honestly, once we get in the playoffs, I feel like this will be way more predictable.
Yes,
way more predictable.
Yes, it will. It will. But we'll I'm telling you right now, we're going to catch some more top 10s, and I'm going to catch another winner. I've stayed away from winners for a while. I'm dialing it back in. We're going to dial it back into a winner at a racetrack I feel confident at.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So just to close out, we're down 10.5.
Yep.
I just want to make a note of this again, and we'll work on getting a graphic. Seabell officially in the graveyard.
He's dead to me.
He's dead.
Yeah.
But we're going to do top 10 on Ross. We're going to put 1 unit, top 10. He's plus 115. Yeah. We're going to put 2 units on Chris Buescher, top 10, minus 180. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. I shouldn't have said it, but
it's a lot.
Let's get into predicting Sonoma. Mm-hmm. I think we know what we're getting here. It's kind of fuel mileage, stage splitting.
Fuel mileage. Yep.
So they repaved it. It did come up not too long ago. That's where the whole Denny Hamlin, and we did an SMRO review that week. But the pace, I think this is what I heard. I might be wrong. I swear I heard the pace is up 4 seconds a lap.
Ooh.
Which seems
ungodly.
Absurd.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And if that's true, passing is going to be even harder because that just tells me it's gripped up.
Yeah.
If it's gripped up, this car already is very good on road courses. We don't really wheel hop as much anymore. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of that, if the pace is up 4 seconds, you might have guys that absolutely blow a corner.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, depending on where these guys qualify, we're really looking at if the track is really that gripped up, we're looking at more mistakes being made. That's what has to happen.
I hope
passing.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's what we want. We want the track to be hard to drive, and we want them to not necessarily slide. If it's gripped up, then they're not going to slide. But like you said, blow corners. Not the braking zones are bigger than they thought. They can't brake. Something.
We need to have, and I'm glad. Hopefully it works out, but I'm glad there's a little bit of a difference.
Yes.
So maybe that helps.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to say we have 2 Australian V8 supercar drivers driving, none of which being SVG.
Wild.
SVG just won Portland. We watched the video. He drifted the whole track after he is so good.
Yes.
I still, slight tangent, I don't know why they didn't just start him in Cup this year. And maybe it was a charter thing. Maybe they didn't have the money. But even if you ran an open car for him, he probably would have got a Cup road course win.
Yes.
I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as he's dominating these people in Xfinity, he wrecked in Xfinity and still came back and won.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what we're doing there, but Will Brown is driving the 33 for RCR, and he is the V8 Supercars points leader. And then, now keep in mind, I'm not discrediting these V8 Supercars guys, but SVG was the number 1 guy. And towards the end of SVG's kind of big run, he had a guy named Scott McLaughlin, who was his big competitor. SVG's, guy. Yeah, SVG's now in NASCAR. Scott's in IndyCar. Yep. So, I'm not discrediting these guys, but I'm just saying maybe these are the 3rd and 4th guys in the series. But Will Brown's racing RCR. Take that for what it's worth. He is the V8 Supercars points leader right now, so he's full time. And then Cam Waters is in the 60 car. RFK calls it Stage 60. And he is the most recent winner of the Supercar series. Okay. So I feel better, honestly, about the 60 car.
I do too.
I just don't. I have no faith in RCR. Zero. On anything.
If Kyle Busch can't perform in it, and if Kyle Busch can't perform in a car, it's because the car's not good.
Yeah,
and I still believe that right now. And we've had this discussion about Jimmy. There was nothing wrong with the cars at Hendrick when Jimmy was in there. Jimmy just could not progress well enough to adapt to the cars anymore. I still think Kyle Busch, I wouldn't say he's in his prime, but he's definitely good enough that he could still win a race. And if he's not performing in these cars, it's because they suck.
It's the cars. Yeah.
It's the cars.
It's
so
the cars.
I hope he does well, but I don't expect anything out of that 33.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
And that kind of disappoints me because I was going to do a little side bet of who you think would finish further up.
No, we're. I think we would both be on the same side of the 60 car.
You know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
You're gonna go 33.
I will say, I think these supercar guys, and it's hard because I feel like SVG came in here, and not only does he represent V8 supercars, but I feel like he's also that Kyle Larson of his.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think
he's a generational talent.
I think SVG's that good.
Mm-hmm.
He also races 410 sprint cars.
Yep.
He's raced rally cars. He's raced everything.
Mm-hmm.
He might just be that good, but I'm going to do a little side bet with you.
Okay.
And we'll follow up on it. I will bet you $5.
Okay.
$5 whole, Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
That Will Brown in the 33 finishes ahead of Cam Waters.
Okay. Oh my! So we're gonna win something this weekend.
Yeah.
Viewers.
One of us will. Yeah, the DTG team will. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like if he's the points leader, maybe he's adaptable like SVG.
Maybe.
Also, maybe Cam Waters just blows a turn and
100%. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet $5 on it.
Okay.
So
good.
Next episode, we'll both bring a
$5 bill.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
And we'll just a crisp one, and we'll get after it. That's really all. Do you have anything for predictions? I mean, honestly, if I just had to guess, I don't know why. I'm just feeling Seabell 1 and Larson 2.
I definitely think Truex will be strong though. Like
I know, man. It seems like his team is falling apart.
His team is falling apart. That's just the Truex thing.
I agree with you, but it's just getting weird. So I don't know if you heard the obviously Truex helped Seabell finish.
Yep.
And their little code message of telling him to help that was like, hey, we're in
95th.
73rd. Yeah, 95th. We're in 95th, but 20 car was battling for the lead. His engine's going down. He's falling back, which is, he's smart enough to know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I wish my engine would have blown 100 fucking laps ago.
Oh my god!
And that's all he said. But then he helped Seabell. So that's him. He knows what's up. But also I think he's on that cusp of. I'm sure he's still enjoying it. But when he's over it, he's over it.
Yeah.
Like a weekend like that, maybe 20 years ago, Truex would have been like, let's see what we can get. Yeah. But now Truex is like, dude, just send it.
He's following in Kyle Busch's footsteps.
Yeah, he's like, we suck. Let's go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
can I please park it?
But like you said, if he's got a top 5 car, he might.
That's all it takes. If he qualifies 8th up,
he might give a damn. He's going to give a damn.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's a scary Truex at Sonoma.
It's a
scary Truex at Sonoma. So.
It is.
I don't know. Stages. What are they doing stages wise?
I think it'll be similar. If you what is it?
They're going to pit right before
if you pit before the stage, you're trying to win the race.
Win a race, yeah.
And if you stay out, you're trying to get stage points. Same thing, like we said. But see, I think one of the last road course races we went to, Seabell was on the opposite strategy and still almost won.
Yeah.
Or did he win?
I don't know. No.
He almost. I can't remember. I feel Seabell did what you thought would not win the race, and he almost won the race, or did win the race. Yeah. I can't remember. So maybe they figured something out. I'm not sure, but I would imagine these. It's weird because you got these supercar guys. Even if they're not figuring out finishing 25th, they will try to win whatever it is to win the race. They'll do that.
Yeah.
So
you want to be pitting with those guys.
You might have some interesting stuff in there. Like we said with the gripped up racetrack, maybe we're running into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be. I think after stage 1, we'll pretty much know who's trying to win, who's trying to get points.
Yep. Cool.
But we'll go ahead and close it out. You have any stupid questions this week?
I have a stupid question this week, and we've kind of hit on it. Xfinity or trucks and cup cars were at Gateway this weekend, and Xfinity was at Portland. And so we see this throughout the series of them going other places or just not racing at all. Why do they do that? Why does Xfinity decide, hey, we're going to go to Portland this weekend and not race with the trucks and the cup cars at the 600 or at Gateway? You know, why are we splitting up this thing and not all us going to one place? Is my stupid question.
So this is just my opinion, kind of what I've heard, but like the Portland thing is, I think they're trying to gauge interest in that area.
Okay.
We have no races up there.
Yeah.
And I think in their mind, they're like, okay, we'll send Xfinity out there first, which is dumb because these are, we have like 2 teams that can even win in Xfinity.
Yeah.
The rest of them, even if they win, they're probably losing money by the time they load the truck. So they're gauging interest to see what they can do. You see IRP, the little short track outside of Indianapolis. Trucks go there now. We're going back to the Milwaukee Mile where Cup used to run. So I think they use those teams and those series, National Super Speedway in Lebanon. That used to be truck and Xfinity only.
Yeah, only.
And I think that was to gauge interest. It didn't work. Yeah. And then for some reason they went straight back to Cup. Yeah. So I think that kind of disproves their whole model right there. But I think it's to gauge interest. If you ask me, the trucks and Xfinity, they run less races, right? Like Xfinity runs a little less than Cup. Trucks run less than that. That's cost. Yes. You know, it's a shorter season.
That's fine. That, yeah.
But I think Truck Series, and we talked about it. What overview was that? Like 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Truck Series should be short tracks, local. If you want to go out to a Milwaukee Mile or an IRP, that should be like a crown jewel event almost for trucks.
Yep.
Like we've actually went over a day away. Xfinity, I don't think they should be going out to Portland, but I think in NASCAR's mind they're gauging interest, which is weird to me because I wouldn't necessarily go to an Xfinity race over a Cup race.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me. Maybe if you make the ticket cheap enough and it's convenient enough, but I feel like if those are the people that go in as cheap and convenient, you're not setting a good barometer for who would come to a Cup race.
No, you're not. You're not. And to go off, you said something. You commented on something on Twitter that was talking about L.A. and going to for the Clash.
Yeah.
And I believe they were talking about going to
Bowman Gray Stadium.
Bowman Gray.
Yep.
And like, why would we not go to Bowman Gray? And you, to me, had the best comment. And we've talked about it before. But why are we not going? Why are we not using that race to get every single series on a track that is pre-built and can be in any type of stadium ever?
Yeah. That's anywhere, because we've proven that we can build basically Bowman Gray Stadium.
Yes.
Anywhere.
And
we tried it in LA, and I was just as surprised. I mean, the crowd did not show out. We're not going to count last year.
No.
Because they moved it.
Yeah.
But even the first year, not really sold out. The second year, definitely not sold out. And they said that was one of our biggest markets. For some reason, that didn't work.
Yeah.
That's fine. We have all that NASCAR has all that infrastructure to this, the safer barriers, the fence, the companies, whoever's paving that. Why are we should take that and move it, because that's the Cup Series, right?
Yes.
And if we want to build off that and run Xfinity, or they did the NASCAR Mexico Series last year, which was a big deal for the people in Mexico. The people that was a big crowd for them. It's backwards to me that if you want to test a market, don't test it with something that's already lower viewership.
Yeah.
We just mentioned 25 people watch the Truck Series race, right?
Yeah.
So why are we testing markets with that?
If you want people to eat Doritos, why are you giving them the Great Value brand of Doritos?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you can say like, oh, it's the NASCAR Truck Series, right? But dude, I've been to dirt races at Bulls Gap, which people don't even know where that's at, right?
No.
I've been to dirt races in Bulls Gap that have more people than truck races I've been to.
Oh my gosh, they're packed.
Because the top of any series is still bigger than the bottom of a Premier Series.
100%.
Which is, I don't know if that makes sense, but like you see what I'm trying to say? Yes. Like
Yeah.
It might be NASCAR, but it's not elite. Elite is elite.
If the Baltimore Ravens wanted to play at a new stadium, but you were like, hey, let's send the Memphis Showboats, a USFL team, to test the market, no one's going to show up.
Nobody's going to show up.
No one's going to show up for that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Example.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Example.
So it's like, I'm with you. If we want to gauge interest in these other places, we're completely doing it the wrong way. If you want to go to Portland and you think we have an interest in Portland, put the Clash there.
Yeah.
Put the Clash there.
Try it. Try it.
Do something.
And we still have, there's an oval in Pikes Peak, Colorado.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge advocate for this, and I don't know what it looks like now. We haven't raced there in forever. It doesn't have safer barriers, I can tell you that. That's how long it's been. But, as big as Colorado grew, Colorado was like Tennessee before Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was moving there.
Yep.
We have a market there.
Yes.
Have a race. And just there's enough people there that you can fill the stadium, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't do that with Cup. Start with Cup, buy people in with Cup, and then get them to come to the Support Series. I mean, you're never going to hook somebody. In my opinion, you're never going to say. You never hear that person that says, "Oh, well, I went to a Truck Series race and now I love Cup racing." Yeah, no. That's never going to happen.
I went to a Cup race and I thought it was awesome, and now I want to go back to another Cup race.
And now I care about Xfinity,
mm-hmm.
and now I care about Truck.
Yes.
Because I was there for Cup, and the ticket was cheaper to get all three.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's
exactly the only reason.
When you introduced me to the sport and we started watching, you didn't sit down and go, "Hey, watch this truck race and see if you would like it." You went, "Let's watch the Daytona 500 with these cars going 200 miles an hour around the track." And I was like, "Wow, this is awesome. What else did they do?" And you're like, "Hey, on Saturdays and on Fridays, they race other things." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then you start watching those and you're like, "Hey, this ain't
It ain't
terrible.
bad, and it's still a fleeting interest. Like we're not. I'm not a diehard truck or Xfinity guy.
No.
I mean, at the same time, I still have shit to do.
Yes.
I can't watch. That's why I watch dirt racing more, because it's either on weeknights or it's late in the night,
and it's over.
It's over.
It's not a production.
and I can also just skip the whole thing and just watch the A main.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's I already have dedicated my Sundays to Cup racing.
Yep.
It's hard for me to dedicate other things. So I think that's my reasoning to your question of why the other series are going places the others aren't. I touched on it earlier. The Truck Series used to go to Texas when IndyCar did.
Yeah.
And that was like a companion thing. And I think truck races was like the appetizer for that, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
If you did that, honestly, you'd probably get more interest in the Truck Series, because we wouldn't have went.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't have went to that if we had tickets to see the Indy race.
Mm-hmm.
Truck race was the night before. It's a season. It's a weekend ticket.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But all right, well, that's a good stupid question. I think it's, we say stupid question, but I think they're honestly really good questions.
They are.
To toot our own horn.
They are.
But what's your I don't have one, honestly. We can probably skip it. What's your favorite memory of Sonoma?
I don't know if I have one either. I can't think of one offhand.
The only one I can think of is when I watched Kyle Larson win it in 2021. I was in the airport after my Minnesota fishing trip.
Oh.
It was just awesome to see. That was the same year Ross cut the carousel and didn't get penalized, which is more memorable to me than
Kyle Larson.
But we'll see how it goes. I think the repay is going to be interesting.
It will be. We'll see how it holds up.
It might not hold up, which would be hilarious.
It would be
so hilarious.
Gosh, imagine
they red flag it to fix the race. Microphone in Denny Hamlin's face. Oh my god, I want to see it. Yeah, I want to see it. They would go to him first.
100%.
They would go to him first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But all right, well, where are you watching this week?
I hope to be watching at home. I've been doing a lot of traveling this week. I'm not even staying at my house this week, so I'm getting to go to a concert on Saturday. I'm pretty excited about, and then driving back from Atlanta on Sunday morning, and we'll be back for the Cup race. And honestly, I hope to chill, just watch the Cup race here. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah, watch them just go around in circles.
In a way.
Yeah. Where are you watching?
I will be at Bristol.
Yep.
The Thunder
drag
Valley
races.
Nationals.
Yep.
So I looked at the weather. Sunday looks like a rain out, unfortunately. Drag racing, they'll usually wait and try to get it in. So we might be in the RV watching
yeah.
Sonoma. Last year, I did not watch Sonoma at all because it was also the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I actually won fantasy that week,
Of course you did.
and I did not watch a single lap of the race. Not going to happen this week.
No.
I don't think. I have way worse luck in fantasy this year. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I mean, if it could rain a little bit, I could watch Sonoma, and then you watch NHRA at night. I don't know. Have you ever been in NHRA?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I've actually only been to qualifying.
Okay,
so
same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of NHRA. If you go to qualifying, it's the same as the racing.
It is. Yeah.
But at night, when you can see the flames coming out of the headers, so much better.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be a little bit of a delay, and then we can watch Sonoma, cook some burgers or whatever.
Yep.
And then go back out there for the finals at night.
Yes.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So
some
that's
funny
my
cars
plan.
at night.
Yes,
baby.
God.
Yeah.
But yeah, all
Give me some
motorsports.
top fuels, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tony's race. Tony Stewart's a full-time
Funny car.
top fuel guy.
Top fuel guy.
Yeah, because he took his wife's ride because she's pregnant. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he's a full-time top fuel guy.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. Yeah,
That's crazy.
can't imagine why they sold,
No.
but that's part of it. So,
Well, good deal.
But all right, man. Well, I appreciate you. A little bit different look here. I think it's a lot better. Honestly,
It is.
a little bit further away, but you're so
it actually on screen it looks it looks like we're really close.
Oh,
Like,
does it?
I
Okay.
can't wait for you to see it on YouTube later. And
Yeah.
you're like, we were so much further away than that.
Okay.
Like that's how it looks. Like honestly, if I stuck my hand out, I feel like if I'm looking on the screen, I feel like I could touch you.
That's
That's how
insane.
close it.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, because
Okay.
we're definitely not that close.
We're not
but-
that close at all.
but-
But I think I just want to once again say thank you to Spencer. He's
Hey.
the producer. He puts all this on. All I do is make a little sheet and then we show up and talk. So
Do it.
huge shout out to Spencer. I appreciate him. Appreciate y'all for watching. Episode 17. We'll see y'all back next week.
Yes, we will.
Tall pine trees, hard land, I'm missing you. Guitar playing through the night, it felt pretty good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Good as one for the price of two.